What's up, everybody? My name is BMax, aka Brandon. Tonight we're doing episode 22 of the Anime Dojo. We'll be going through GDK Season 2, episode 32. I'm alongside Chris and Deon. How y'all gentlemen doing this evening?
Doing all right, man.
Just trying to make it shake, bruh.
Absolutely. So we have a couple things to get through. We're going to get through the anime charts like we normally do. A couple of news things to get to as well. One big one that I think a lot of people are going to be very happy about because that got something officially confirmed down the road. Deals with One Piece, but we'll get to that in a second. But we'll start off with the anime charts. These charts actually didn't change that much. I'm going to be kind of surprised. I will say this, though. The one thing I'm shocked by, Stray Dogs is at number 1. Bleach comes back to number 2. I think it took a week off. That's why it's not on the previous charts. And Jujutsu Kaisen drops 2 spots to 3. Other than that, Dark Gathering is at 4. Mushoku Tensei is at 5. It drops 3 spots. My Happy Marriage drops 2 spots. It went to 6. The Girl That Forgot Her Glasses stayed at 7. Revenge went up 2 spots. Rent a Girlfriend Season 3. I know of Rent a Girlfriend. Never seen the show. Not really my cup of tea. Jumped up 24 spots. Okay. That's insane. And Rijin Kensei dropped 2 spots. So I'll start out with this. Deon, from that list, what is the biggest takeaway for you from that chart?
Honestly, it's Bungo Stray Dogs. It's been on the charts in the past, like around the 5 to 9 range. That's where it's been like playing at. Mm-hmm. But for this to jump all the way up to the number 1 spot this week, I'm very interested in going to go rewatch this entire anime just to see what the hype is for this particular episode.
Yeah. And I'll say that. I will say, too, I think this is the first time Deon's been back on with us for a bit because of internet issues and other things. But every time that Bleach has hit in the state in the top 2, we've talked about it. I've mentioned to you about that. Seeing Bleach back here in the top 2 gives Chris some credence because people were like, only old anime are staying up top. Yeah, no. You got Stray Dogs at 1. Kaizen and Mushoku Tensei dropped to 3 and 5 respectively, and Mighty Magic dropped to 6. So this is not no normal trend here. So this has been fluctuating pretty well. Alongside that, Chris, what else do you see from this chart that is kind of interesting?
So, take a quick gander. So Lord, no, I can't pronounce these for nothing. But Mushoku Tensei, I caught back up with it, and I see why it's up there, and I see why it fell. Like, if you're watching an anime, and you're a dude. You're like, man. So.
I do know. Man, so. I did see a still from one of the episodes from this current episode that showed like he's staring at somebody's legs, but you don't see the person. You just see the legs and him staring between them. I'm like, what they kind of getting at with this? But I'm not going to ask why because I don't want to. I'm going to watch it later. But I'm like, okay, that's confusing.
Yeah. Man got problems, like for real.
Well, yeah.
He's obsessive.
That's fair.
He's not obsessive, man. He got he's got a man's worst enemy.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fair enough. I'm actually surprised. The other thing I'm surprised by Kaizen dropping. We'll watch the episode. I don't think it was as bad as I think people are putting out. Like it dropped to 3. It stays in the top 3, but I don't think it was that bad. Ultimately, I'm guessing it's because the way they do some of the things in the episode. Like I said, we'll get into it. And then I'm actually just the most shocked with Rent a Girlfriend. Rent a Girlfriend's been around since the early 2021. Yeah, 2021. That series is crazy. I've never seen a series that's been around that long. It's so different to everything else. But we'll see how this rest of the chart going. We still have 2 weeks left. So no Zom in this chart because they were taking this episode wasn't going to go into this chart. It's going to be on the next chart probably, and that's it. Yeah, we have 2 weeks of this season left, or 1 week of the season left technically, and then we'll be into the fall, autumn season. Let's get into the other big news that came out of this week. So I know Deon's a big fan of this show, One Piece. I started watching me and Chris started watched the live action full way through, and then I've gone back myself and I'm watching the anime full way through. Chris has watched the anime full way through himself. One Piece live action season 2 is officially confirmed.
Yeah. And they've been confirmed for 6 seasons.
Yes, confirmed for 6 seasons. Pretty strong showing. I'm not surprised by that at all. I'm wondering what they're gonna do with 6 seasons. That's 8 episodes a season. We're gonna get
the idea is to get, and Deon knows what I'm talking about. The idea is to get to 3D2Y in 6 episodes, in 6 seasons.
I wonder, but it's like, are they gonna really try to adapt this whole anime? That's a
Yes.
lot. That's a lot of adaptations. Too many to be, in fact. It's crazy to me because that if season 1 is good as it is, season 2 is going to be amazing. That season 2 is just going to be on par, tops some of the best stuff we've seen.
But they're saying each season they would have to increase each episode's amount by the season because of how much CGI they had to add.
So are we talking length of time, or are we talking visual quality?
Visual quality, they're adding to it. Specifically, characters like Chopper, who are there. They've said the best way, and probably the way that they're going to animate him, is to place a actor in a green suit and have him act out the character, and they put CGI over him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And y'all both more than One Piece experts than me. I never thought I would be so into One Piece after a live action show. I was grinning ear from ear after we watched the live action. Like I was smiling so much, I was like, I'm going back and watching the animated version. And it just made me feel like Netflix, you've hit a home run. You haven't hit a home run, you hit a grand slam. And that's how much of One Piece live action is doing so well. I'm going to ask you this, Deon. You being a One Piece fan, are you looking forward to watching live action? I know you haven't started yet, technically.
Yeah, so originally I was not. I was actually terrified of watching the live action, mainly because Netflix had its hand in it. But with Oda having so much to do with it and hearing the feedback, especially like what you just said, I've been hearing that a lot. Like, oh, now I want to go back and read the manga or watch the anime or you watch it, and I'm like, okay, I gotta at least give it a shot before I just be like, nah, I don't want this.
Well,
but the history, I was nervous.
Hey Deon, I will tell you since me and Brandon watched it, we compared the anime to the live action, and they did so many scenes that are so close to the anime, you really can't tell what's what's there and what's not there.
Ba-
They literally make you forget some stuff like because they do so much.
Basically, it's all filler or all killer, no filler. And they do a very smart thing where, like Chris mentioned, they cut out all the filler and move things around to make it fit the plot. And even though it fits the plot differently, it still has the same heart as the anime. And that's the big thing I love. I will give one thing, and a lot of people said it from the get-go, which I thought was so stupid. Zoro, the guy who plays Zoro in live action,
Yeah.
he is cool as all get out. But it's funny, against the anime counterpart, a lot of people are like, he's too good looking. He's way too good looking for what the character's supposed to be about. But I'm like, hold on a second. Yeah, I can't.
That's the first you ever hear about somebody being too good looking for a
too
role.
good looking. Yeah, that's not something you're gonna hear everybody ever say. If you hear somebody say you're too good looking for a character adaptation, that's actually telling you they found somebody that can play the character well enough that looks similar enough, but yet
that you have nothing else to complain about.
correct.
That's a good problem to have.
Exactly.
That's a good problem to have.
Then the other thing they do very well, and I think the thing that people were worried about the most, how are you going to do Luffy's powers? How are you going to do all these different things? Luffy's powers, they did that amazingly. They basically did the Spider-Man route for that. The Spider-Man route, or even, I think even more so, Elastigirl from like Incredible style way of doing it, where it just looks more
Flawless.
Yeah, flawless, more realistic. Even more so, Chris brought this up. The dude who plays Luffy has long limbs, so it doesn't long arms and legs. I say that, so it doesn't feel awkward that he can do those motions very easily.
I was just speaking with somebody earlier today, my cable guy actually, which I need to call him back because I still have horrible service. But
fair enough.
He was talking about how he seen Oda in the interview saying that when he seen the audition tape for the Luffy character, he immediately knew like that's my Luffy. And I
he
was
found
like,
the person. Yeah.
That statement makes me want to go watch it 100%. Just that right there.
And here's the thing that I think people must remember. Netflix had the backing of Oda to do it. Here's the other thing. Oda's on and you can't tell, and it's funny, you probably couldn't tell, you probably would never tell Oda's on the production team at all unless you really just know the anime well enough to scrutinize the tiny things.
Mm-hmm.
But Oda's on the production team helping them out, and yet he signs off on some things. You're like, how do you sign that off on? How do you sign that off?
Yeah.
But he's like, you're like, it works. It works. Cool.
Like,
we'll take it.
like Deon, you might have a slight what's the word I'm looking for? I actually hated that he was a villain the way they made him. I was like, wow. Because they made one of those villains, one of those anti-villains kind of dudes. Like, you understand where he coming from, but you just kind of misconstrued, bro. Like, dang.
Yeah. Okay.
So I will say this. If you're listening to this podcast right now, me and Chris talked about this last week. I wanted to bring this up again. I implore people to go just seek it out. It is worth a watch. It probably not for everybody. I get all that. But here's the thing why I say it's worth a watch. Because ultimately, if it do well enough, they're going to make more of it. They're going to keep making more. But also, it's going to make people want to go and make other versions of these animes live action. Like a My Hero Academia. Like a Demon Slayer. Like, and I hate to say it, JJK would be one I would love to see in live action.
My heart hurts.
You know what, Brandon? If what's gonna tell me if they can do that, because they did a very good job with One Piece. If they can recreate the same success with Avatar: The Last Airbender, then they can do it. They will convince me they can do it.
I will give you that. If they can redo Avatar the right way,
Yeah,
I
Mhm.
would give them a better chance at doing
not
that.
M. Night Shyamalan. The movie that they made Avatar was just
Yeah,
pretty
no.
bad.
Oh my goodness.
But if they can do it where it's like the cartoon, like the animated cartoon that's on Nickelodeon right now,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But I would
Yep.
still take that Avatar M. Night Shyamalan version over Netflix Death Note, Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, there's been a lot of bad. There's been a lot of
Fair
bad.
enough.
A lot of
Fair
terrible.
enough. And put it this way, Netflix has had a lot of trial and error. So at this point, they should know what's going to work and what isn't going to work.
Yeah. I mean, after watching the Dragon Ball live animation,
Wait,
you should
wait.
know what should
Whoa.
work and what shouldn't work.
Well,
So,
they learned that you cannot deviate from the story. You cannot deviate from the anime at all. You
I
cannot
just-
do that at all.
So that's when it brings. The reason I brought it back up because it was big news when they said they were going to make a season 2 with the strike still going on for SAG-AFTRA strike. So
Mhm.
that is still going on. But they have officially said we are making season 2. We agreed with the people who make our show. It's going to happen eventually. I think that's the big
good.
thing. That's the big thing about this is that they cared enough to make the characters all work together. The actors they get from most of the main characters play off each other so well. I think I told Chris this, which I forgot. I don't know if you know this, Deon. The guy that plays what's the guy with the blonde hair that cooks? I can't think of his name right now.
Sanji.
Sanji. Actually, the guy who plays Sanji in the live action learned how to cook and do a lot of that stuff for the live action.
Yep.
The man literally went to learn how to cook for the.
Oh, Deon. I guess you don't know. All the characters in the One Piece show did their own stunts.
Everybody did their own stunts. There's things that things you wouldn't see very often anymore. It's like you use some stunt doubles, you use all this stuff.
Yeah, a bunch of CG to make you do a backflip.
I will say this:
they don't do all that.
They don't do all that. I will say this: the first fight you see in One Piece, I think it's the courtyard fight in the military base.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Oh, it's not the first. That's not the first fight. Actually, the
first fight you see is on that big woman's boat.
Yes, it is.
You know what I'm talking about.
The first fight you see on the boat is really good. The next fight that I love, and it's a fight you don't expect, it's Zoro fighting in the bar because the way it's done.
Lockjaw guy.
Yeah, the way it's done. No, this is actually a different scene. This is like they added this scene, but it makes sense to Zoro's character.
Well, actually, they didn't add it. Remember, it was a flashback in the anime.
Yeah, it's flashback. So it's a flashback scene, but in current day.
They made it a part of the show.
Yeah. So it's like that's. But I'm gonna even I'll give you one more. The fight when they're in the military base, Zoro's tied up. So they switch this around. So you don't see Zoro tied up in the anime like it's normally, where he's just sitting there forever. Mm-hmm. He's moving around in this part. And they're literally having a fight with Luffy, Nami, and the rest of the military people. Zoro's walking through the fight in the courtyard. And he's like, do I stay around? I'll screw it. He starts helping them. But the way they do this three people fight in the show works out so well because the camera's focused on everybody, but it's not disjointed. It don't feel like it's disjointed. It feels like it's one cohesive fight. It's the
you feel like you're actually watching the anime at this point.
It's like the most amazing thing ever. I have to give them credit. They really did a good job of source material and like building out the fight scenes and also building out just like the characters' demeanors. All the characters' demeanors are awesome and they just feel like themselves. And you can tell.
I put it this way, Deon. You know, in the scene where Nami is she's kind of like cursing herself or like after Arlong betrays her.
Yeah.
And you remember that scene where
she's like deciding whether or not she needs to be a pirate or not?
Well, no. Not that, but that specifically the scene where she starts stabbing her arm.
Oh, okay.
They actually do that in a live action, and it's like, whoa.
She literally takes a knife and goes.
And it's like one of the most iconic scenes between Luffy and Nami.
Yes, and it leads to where she's crying. Luffy takes his hat off, puts the hat on top of her head, and she's just like, "You're really gonna help me?" Okay. That was well
Yeah.
done, and it's just like you can tell that Oda and all the team care about the anime. That was the one thing you could tell from interviews and stuff I saw. They care. If you can get people who care, then you can make something amazing. If people don't care,
Oh yeah.
absolutely not.
Yeah, when it's a cash grab versus creative artistry, you're gonna get Full Metal. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No worries, you're good. Fine, you're fine.
Yeah, but I think
You're
after
fine.
all the comments we made, Deon probably gonna end up binge watching it sometime in the near future.
Yes.
I might do it tonight after I watch Ahsoka tonight. Because Ahsoka comes out again tonight.
Okay.
I'm probably gonna watch it.
What time you watching it? What time?
It'll probably be around like midnight because Ahsoka doesn't come out until like 10 or 11.
Well, let me know because I'll watch it with you.
Okay.
That'll be my first time watching it.
But let's get to something else. Let's get to the question of the night. Actually, wait. I have one more thing. I think I added this, but I don't know if it was something I added or something I. Oh, yes, I did add this last thing. Considering My Hero Academia, so I put this in our text group. My Hero Academia is getting a special episode premiered in New York Comic Con on October 13th. And it's not based on the current anime right now. It is called, if I remember correctly, let me look this up because it does say it. Anime announced a new card game focused special episode titled My Hero Academia UA Hero Battle, which will premiere October 10th, and then it will go to it will appear in October 20th to 26th in Japan, and October 13th at New York Comic Con. When I saw this, I'm like, a card game based episode for My Hero Academia. Why? Seems kind of odd. And I don't know if they were just want to make a random one-off episode. Cool, go ahead. But it just seemed weird. What do y'all both think about that?
I'll go first because I can't hold this in.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. We're good.
Listen to me because I mean, if they make it like something like Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm out.
That's
You
what
ruined
I'm
the
thinking.
animation.
That's what I'm
However,
thinking.
if you use the game as a way to kind of say what's finna happen in the next season, then that's gonna be cold.
So you tease stuff through that episode for next season?
Like I imagine them playing a card game with all the different heroes and everything, and
That's
then
the
you
only way I
start
would
seeing
accept that.
exactly.
Oh yeah, that would be
So
Some
in
random students playing the game with the cards of the heroes that we know. I would
right.
I could see.
And then you see them match up, and then certain heroes are dead, and they gone, they revive. You be like, wait a minute.
like a car capture version.
You see what I'm
show
saying?
my age in anime, but like car captors.
Okay, if we're going down that route, cool. I agree with that. But if we're going the like Chris said, the Yu-Gi-Oh route, no. You can't do the Yu-Gi-Oh route for this because that just seems weird and awkward. But if we're going the route of like they're playing the game and they're like they kind of show things off, okay, cool, and then we get a tease for season 7, or
that's it. That's it. It's the teaser for season 7, and
it's got to be.
It's gonna be an explosive version of some baseball trading card game with the UA heroes, and they're gonna introduce new outfits, new characters. Like it's gonna be big. It has to be, or it's a waste of time.
Okay, that I agree with. If you're gonna do that in season 7 through that, cool. I think that would be the only reason you make a random special episode that has no bearing on anything else.
Yep. Because in that way they can still technically say it's not canon to the show.
It's not canon to anything else. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. I saw the other day, I was looking through Twitter or X. Still hate that it's called X, but I was looking through X And
that's weird.
And I saw that pop up on Anime Corner. I'm like, that's a weird thing to be putting out there for My Hero Academia. But I'm like, okay, maybe just the way to tease season 7, but also just a random episode as well. Cool. I think you need to make yourself, if you're going to make movies or special episodes, make them canon to your show. But if you don't have to, fine. If this is not going to be canon, that's cool. I don't care. It's not canon, but just don't make it where it has a canon thing in it that's going to be canon later.
I wonder if it'll go like the Star Wars route. And I know I'm bending genres here, but where you have the movie majors, but then you release like the little shows like Star Wars Rebels and
If they do that, I'm out.
and
Because to me, that's
stuff like
taking the
that.
Yu-Gi-Oh route.
That's taking out. That'd be taking the Yu-Gi-Oh route.
Yeah, but I mean,
but it's
if
also
it doesn't change the original.
That's the thing. If you don't change the original, I don't care. Yeah, if you don't change the original, you're fine. Like that's cool. But if you change anything with the original plot, that's not good.
Yeah,
Well,
like it has that change.
I'll put it this way: I'm giving it the same skepticism that I'm giving all the old current Netflix shows. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. So before we hit into JJK episode 32, I'm gonna give the gentleman a question of the night. So we were heading into the autumn season for anime. I say autumn. I don't know if it's considered autumn or winter, or fall or winter. How do you classify them? Is this gonna be one of the best autumn or fall season anime we've had in a while? Because we're getting Dead Mount Deathplay, we're getting Shield Hero season 3, we're gonna keep JJK. We're also getting one of the shows I'm looking forward to, Overtake, which is a Formula 1 or racing anime. We're also getting Attack on Titan. We're getting a couple other things. They're just going to be like, we have a lot of heavy hitters this season, and it's going to be interesting who's going to vie for everybody's attention. And it's not because of one thing crazy. It's just because, we just wanted to make a bunch of good, we're going to put a lot of good anime out through the autumn. So my question to you, gentlemen, is this going to be one of the stronger anime seasons we've had in a while, where we're going to have, say, 5, 6, 7 hitters across the board? And I'll start off with Deon.
Well, I'll say this: are we including the ones that have just been released, like with I guess, like you said, the Royal Kinsei? I can never say that right.
Oh, Mujin Jobless. Yeah, I would put Jobless there. I would put JDK there because they're going to be continue. I bet both of those will probably continue.
Yeah.
Some things that will continue on.
If we're counting that stuff, then it's definitely gonna be a good season if it's done right. Because you still get One Piece that's gonna be continuing on. You're gonna get Royal Kenshin, which is the one that's just come back, and I haven't watched it yet because I'm still watching Bleach, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm hearing good things, not the best things, but whatever. The big one that I'm looking forward to, they're good enough things. The big one I'm looking forward to seeing, and Chris, I have to shout you out for this one, is Goblin Slayer. It's supposed to be.
Yes, I did see Goblin Slayers on that list too. That's the other. So I'm kind of worried because we're getting so much good between now.
Wait a minute though, because we're also getting the next part to Dr. Stone.
Yes.
See, I'm a little on edge about that because this part of Dr. Stone wasn't that exhilarating for me.
Maybe not for you, but it was for me.
Okay, I'm like, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but
I haven't watched Dr. Stone, so I'm out of that conversation completely.
Okay, well, wait a minute, I'm not done because they're also bringing the Spy and Family back.
Yes, that was the other one on my list. I'm like, I'm gonna have Spy and Family, Kaizen, My Hero, my Shield Hero, and Overtake, which I'm just looking forward to as just my own thing. And it's just like, I'm gonna have about 6 animes I'm gonna try to keep up with within a week time span. Yeah, I ain't doing that. That's gonna be
That's
hard
just
to do.
off of personal animes. That's not even
You
the
know what I'm
popular.
saying?
You know, like I'm personally looking forward to like Tokyo Revengers coming back. Like
I
that
was
was
just about to say
Yeah,
that. That's
Tokyo Avengers,
also
Tokyo,
on the list.
Tokyo Avengers coming back. I
Mm-hmm.
Only reason I bring up the question, and like I'll say before, and I'll say again, I feel bad sometimes because I give these guys a lot of hard questions that I think about later on. But I looked at the list. I ended up looking at the list of things that are coming out for the autumn fall season. It's like,
It's stacked.
yeah. And this past season was pretty stacked. So for
Yes,
this one to come out and hit hard like it is, I'm nervous for winter.
oh, I'm definitely nervous. I'm definitely nervous for winter. But here's the thing I'm worried about too. We're going into the autumn fall season. Well, here's the thing that I think is probably going to be kind of weird. We're going to have Halloween, Thanksgiving in the United States, and Christmas, all pretty big holidays in the States, but also some of them are bigger around the world as well. Are you going to really have to? You're going to really have to focus on putting out good episodes through those certain holidays where people keep watching. Because that anime chart's going to be so fluctuating by week because of things that are still around, things that are hot, things that are hype. I think it is so hard to be an anime fan for one reason and one reason only. I think if you like multiple shows, that is all you're watching. You have no other time for really just like things that people are talking about that are hitting the water cooler talk, as they say, or in this case nowadays X talk, or Facebook, or even Instagram stuff. I think it's so hard now to like, if a show does really well with fans and everybody's talking about it, like I'm already watching something else. I have to come back to that. I want to be part of the conversation, but I can't. It's like
Yeah.
I think that's the downside with this nowadays, because you can't be a part of that conversation as it's happening. You're catching up to everybody else. Because I wanted to catch up with Attack on Titan. I wanted to, but season 3 is super slow, and I got kind of bored. I can't. I'm like, I'm gonna wait. I'm just gonna
Watch
wait.
something
There it
else. Don't even waste your time.
That's the problem, and that's the thing.
This-
I'm like, I don't want to waste my time with it because JJK is hitting so well. We love Dead
Yeah.
Mountain Death. We all watched Dead Mountain Death play as a group, and we all enjoyed it. Yeah, was the ending kind of convoluted? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yep.
But
Mhm.
but am I excited for season 2?
Yep.
Oh yeah,
You bet I am, because it's just that.
definitely.
It's just that, like, I want to see what happens next. And that's the thing about this next season of like April autumn anime, is because we're having stuff that are coming out with season 2s, season 3s, JDK staying around. You're having Attack on Titan finish its final season. Giant quotation marks right now. Final season. I don't think that's going to be the case, but okay.
Well, wait a minute though. We have to give our honorable mention to the anime that came out on Disney. I forgot what it was called.
Oh yes, I did hear about this. But I forget the title.
Is it
Yeah,
out
but
already? What is it? June? I don't know.
You lie in April,
I've
or
seen
you
it.
lie something. It
Yeah,
was.
I heard.
But I heard it did good. I haven't watched it myself, but I heard it did good. But I also know that Disney is coming out with another one
Yes, they
this
are.
and so and I don't know how they did it, but I think it's Fooly Cooly.
Ooh. I've
What?
heard of that. I think I've heard of that.
Yep,
I've heard this.
How?
Fooly Cooly Shoegaze. I think
Have
that's
y'all
what it's called.
have you seen it? Have you seen the original?
Yes,
I've heard
that's
the
why
I
original.
don't
that's why
want
I'm
Disney
bringing
to
it up.
touch that. That's no.
This is
No.
why I'm bringing it up.
I've heard
Because
the
the thing
original.
is, Disney's first anime was actually not bad. So the fact that they are trying to do it is like, okay,
This is a
you
little
know what I'm saying?
risque for Disney.
You, you see what I'm saying? The fact
Like
that
the
Disney's
most
trying to get into anime, I can't imagine a anime from Disney right now. My head would explode.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
especially not that one.
But
You see what I'm saying?
I'll go
Not
one.
that one.
I'll go one step further for y'all. I'm gonna go ahead a little bit to winter. Think about this for a second. Think about the fact we could get Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, One Piece sticking around. I could see JJK working on their next season of anime right now because they have some of these that probably have some more episodes out for that. On top of that, and I'm probably gonna scare some people. I say this. We already know this part of the script for season 2 of the live action for One Piece is done, or most of the script is done. What happens if we get an announcement saying we're going to bring out One Piece season 2 live action in January? That's heavy hitting. I don't know what you do there at that point.
If all of
season
those
pushback.
anime were to come out at the same time, plus whatever else may or may not be interesting at the time, I see myself like not leaving the house.
I'm not catching up on fall when the winter comes out. So
You see what I'm saying?
I reason I bring the question up because I was thinking to myself, I think they need to fix. We talked about this, and I think now that I'm thinking about it, and I have to give Deon credit because we talked about this in an early podcast. It's like episode 6 of when we did the podcast or something like that, or episode 8 or 9. Sorry, I said it too early. When Deon mentioned they should just drop all the episodes at once.
Yep.
I think we're getting to a point where you're gonna have to do that because one, with Zom's having a problem now because they need to put it on TV first in Japan, which Deon thought that was kind of stupid. Comparatively, it's coming out on TV in Japan on a Sunday, then it hits Crunchyroll on a Monday. Then they're doing that again. That's why they've been delaying some things for other reasons too. Eventually, I hate to be the one to say this, either you're gonna have to drop it all on Crunchyroll as you get it like Netflix do it, or
Just drop it on Netflix.
Or just drop it on Netflix, and then if you want to air in Japan after the fact, then air it in Japan after the fact. Or air it in Japan the same day you drop it on Crunchyroll. That's the best way to do it. At least it gets aired out. Because at this point, you're
all on the paid apps. If you don't want to watch, if you want to watch it as they release it, they can still release it in Japan day by day if they want to. But on these paid apps like Crunchyroll and Netflix and Hulu, because I think Zom's on Hulu now, just drop it.
Because I think we're gonna have the thing of I think the other problem we're gonna run into is I think if you're gonna have any delays going into winter or autumn, there's gonna be some massive delays, or not massive delays. I can only think a couple in my head right now. One big one is Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving in the States, that's going to be a little delay because that's always on a Thursday. Any anime that's going to come out on Thursday will be delayed by a day.
I don't think so. I don't think it will.
I do. I mean, we were delayed by an Olympic game.
Okay.
In Japan, though.
Maybe
Japan does not look at Thanksgiving the same way we do.
Correct.
But we still got Christmas and New Year's too.
I will say that though. I will say they don't look at Thanksgiving the same way. So I agree with Chris. I could see them going, okay, we'll drop in Japan. It will still drop in the States on Thanksgiving, but I bet you a lot of people ain't gonna watch it until the next day. I think that's gonna be the same.
Watch it.
I'll try. I mean, I'll try. I'm also gonna try. Same here. I think the big one that Deon mentioned is New Year's and Christmas, which is more across the board, across multiple countries. Those are things that are recognized around the world. So that would be harder because it's like, wait, we're gonna drop a show on
that's 4 days worth of holidays.
But wait a minute though, do they really celebrate New Year's the same time we do?
I mean, not technically the same time, but
not same same. Probably not the same exact. January 1 is the same for everybody, but I think the way they celebrate Chinese New Year or that kind of stuff is maybe different a little bit, but it's still celebrated. So I'm wondering.
Right. So, but again, that's the point that I'm making. It's not as celebrated as it is here.
Correct.
Oh no, it's still big.
But I think
it's still big. I don't think it's enough for them to stop anime because they haven't done it in the past.
They haven't done it in the past. I'm just getting to the point where I don't want to see a lot of stuff I see a lot of stuff getting bogged down by other things happening around the world or in Japan that will probably shift things, and I don't think that's a good idea.
What's going to shift things are the Olympics.
Yes, in Paris. Yep.
Because the whole world shuts down for that.
Correct. Same with the World Cup for soccer. Same with I can go to there's a couple big.
Yeah.
So I think those are gonna be some of the bigger ones that are be like, we might have to. We're gonna delay anime for like 3 weeks. Fine, but then at that point, I think I would hope you just drop the 3 episodes you would have missed. Hopefully.
Exactly.
I let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let me know what y'all think of the YouTube channel. Before we get to Kaizen, I will say this. I don't know if Deon was here for this. I think, and Chris knows, over 42 people watched the last episode on my channel. I can't thank y'all enough for that. That's surprising because we don't usually hit those numbers for these episodes. I don't know what me and Chris were talking about the last episode that made people want to tune in. Probably because of JDK, that's part of it. But we're doing something good. So I just can't thank y'all enough for that. I do appreciate that. That tells me and Chris that we're doing something really good, and alongside Deon as well, we've done really good things, and we were getting better at what we do. But yeah, gentlemen, let's get into JJK Season 2, Episode 32. We're officially starting the Shibuya arc, and this episode really gets to the heart of these fights now. We got the setup last week. We got some setup the prior weeks. Deon, have you been keeping up with JDK?
I have. I'm gonna go back and really pay attention. My kid has had me running around like crazy, so I've been side-eye watching. That's what I call it.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm caught up information wise.
What do you think about this starting, like seeing this arc so far with Shibuya? What do you think?
I'm excited for the rest of it. With the little brief one we had before this, I'm gonna call it the dream arc we had. It kind of set this tone for excitement. Like, okay, like let's get into it. And I haven't been disappointed yet.
Okay.
I want to see how this plays out. There's been some new things that I wasn't expecting, like fighting robots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I want to see what happens before I really be like, nah, this is crazy. It's gone way too far left field. But
I will also ask you this. I think me and Chris thought about this when we watched the first 2 episodes. It feels like they are really trying to set up the other characters first before they got to Ichidori. This is the first episode where Ichidori really gets involved outside of the very first episode of this arc. But like Ichidori, I think Ichidori is going to be kind of a background player for a bit until he's really necessary. Gojo and Geto take center stage for most of this, and Gojo takes a lot of it for the second episode. And Geto is in the background for a little bit of the first and second episode. He really comes out this next episode. I don't know. It's been an interesting thing because they started off with Mekamaru, and that was something I think people probably didn't expect.
Yeah, definitely.
Mekamaru is probably a lesser known character across the board for most of this series. I say lesser known, but he's still known, but he's still not a main character.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know if that's going to be something they try to flesh out more later. We still know what happened at the end of that fight because they haven't really shown that off. So we don't know if he's still around. I personally think he's dead, but that's just me. But
we also know Jujutsu Kaisen doesn't kill people very easily.
No, they don't. Which is also kind of like, well, they really just set this up to make it where it's not gonna make some sense. But I hope you have the episode up. I will say 3, 2, 1, and then we'll get going. Gentlemen, you ready?
Yes,
ready.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. And we basically leave off when Gojo first walked into the veil, as I'll say. I really thought this was kind of funny. He literally just walked on top of people. Man, you must be some kind of like, I would say God complex, but that's not the way I'm gonna put it. Like
No,
he must.
no.
Oh,
That's probably accurate. That's probably
okay.
accurate.
Like he has some kind of God complex. He just literally is gonna walk on top of people. What the world are you thinking?
He's not even thinking of them being
People.
yeah.
He put a sheet on a step for the grave. What the? Okay, I didn't notice that before.
It's for her to sit
Yep. So
down.
she. Mm-hmm.
You have no idea, kid.
I'm about to say, do you know Gojo? Have you seen the man? The man could pretty much destroy half the demon, all the spirits in this world. He could easily. I'm guessing, Chris, they never explained how multiple veils opened up, did they?
Nope.
Okay. Which is kind of weird. They do say there's multiple veils opening up, but I'm like, how is that possible? Because the way Ghetto talks about them, he's like, it's only going to be one veil. So I'm guessing somebody.
No, I think they're still trying to set it up to something. I think it's still going to be bigger than what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna ask you, Deon. What do you think about this song?
I'll say this. It's on my workout playlist.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I kind of figured. I kind of figured. That's what I thought I was gonna get. Yeah, it's on my anime playlist for all anime openings I have. It's one of the few songs I've played multiple times.
Yeah, I got this Fire Force,
Mm.
Demon Slayer. Like
Yep.
there's some workout.
Yep.
Yeah, I got all Demon Slayer openings, and I got both Jujutsu openings and endings. I'm just like, damn.
I
My
got the
first time
ending.
hearing this, I was like, yeah, it's giving me like Stray Dogs, K-pop type vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
But you know what I love about most of the songs that I like? All the anime songs I actually enjoy. A lot of them have female leads, for the most part, and then the guys play the background to them. Because this is how this song starts. It starts off with a female lead, and then it has the guys in the background.
I haven't noticed that. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
Chris noticed
Yeah.
that a lot of English. They're adding more English singing, so like you'll hear
I
him say,
did notice that.
which is gonna be a thing. I know they're gonna add more English. It's not every line, but it's every other, maybe a couple lines. They'll say something English.
I love it. As a dub watcher, I love it.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, too, something else I've noticed is the more you watch anime, they slow down some text so you can catch it.
Correct. They do slow down text. I love he goes through that whole thing. She's like, I don't mind you go talking. Keep talking. I'm like, really? She don't care. She's focused.
Nope.
It's not like she can. I'm not gonna break her concentration.
Like,
Yeah, it's
you
not
think
like
I'm
she's
that
not
weak?
professional.
Talking gonna stop me?
I thought this was a weird question. And then she goes, it's probably the latter.
Oh, they finna split up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I love how they made Itadori say, he's here down below. And she's like, well, we can't confirm that though. But Itadori was so matter of fact, he knew something was up. That's kind of like he's learned.
He's
Yeah,
getting the
they.
hang of being a sorcerer.
Yep. Oh, Deon, I hope you're ready because this scene is. Oh man, they turned it up just a little bit.
Oh, this fight? Yeah.
Yep.
This fight is actually
Oh,
pretty
look, it's Cell.
I knew that reference. That's why it's a pretty good reference. But I love Itadori. He's having none of it. He just like
They learned his name. I love the realization. Like he thought you were gonna trick him. Nope, you ain't tricking him.
For real. Anybody who watched Jurassic Park knows this.
Jurassic World.
Yeah. That,
Hmm.
it wasn't that. It wasn't that.
Genetically enhanced.
Locust.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you. That still just looks disgusting. The way he's standing.
Man.
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah.
The first time me and Chris watched this, I was like, that doesn't look right.
Yeah,
But
they
they
could
made
have
it.
did something different.
But then Chris says it makes sense. There's a reason why. I'm like, okay, and then there's a reason. So stay tuned.
I'm just waiting for him to go final form.
Because he did transform with the wings, huh?
Yeah.
He called your bluff. Should have known that.
So really ain't. He just keep calling you stupid.
That's a bad angle.
It really is.
It's a bad angle, but they made the point behind it. Now this is just fun. This is funny. I love this.
Yeah. I love this part.
Versus my 4. Then he goes, wait. Yeah, how am I losing now? like what?
Yeah.
Why am I the only one getting hit? Well, wait. That was only 2 hands, and he's like just
Yeah.
punches. Come on now, you're not like.
I told you.
Oh.
Yeah, that didn't really work the way you thought.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Still don't look right, but you know.
No.
But don't look right, but
Uh-oh.
it made it make sense. That was the thing that I figured after we saw the first time, like they made it make sense.
Hey
Fair enough.
Deon, that was his third transformation.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah, he grew. Curse on you. Oh, he called him skilled. How many fingers does he even have right now? Is it still like
At this point, he should only have 3.
three?
No, he's got like five or six.
Five?
Oh, is it 5 or 6? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it is 5 or
because
6. It is 5 or 6 because he gains 2 from the first. He gained 2 from the first season. He gained
and then
he gained and he gains 2
mhm.
more by the end
and,
of the special. The other
and
arc.
and then right at the end of the last season, he gains one last one.
One last one. He gets 6 total. I love the Waldo reference. Where's Waldo? I like that. They just did that off.
Yes,
That was just
we
funny.
found Waldo. He's hiding in JJK, but he won't be there for long.
So this is very important. So listen up, because this actually explains something that a lot of people wouldn't figure out pretty quickly. Yeah, I thought the line was kind of weird. Like, where would they go?
Yeah, because he's gonna kill anybody around him regardless.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he just burned it. This gets brutal. Like he just starts burning people. I'm like,
Did you notice he literally snatched that dude's head off? I mean, nobody else saw that, and I was like, wait a minute. He literally snatches a dude's head off, and
yep.
Now the plant guy is running, smashing heads as he runs. But that kind of defeats the purpose, right?
keep watching.
Yeah, they explain it, and I have to give them credit. They did explain it. If they didn't explain it, it would be kind of weird.
It's no good.
I noticed he says 99%.
And not 100.
Never said.
Okay, this seems messed up.
Yeah.
But if you kill all of them, then this is the leverage.
But if your mission is to save everybody,
Yeah, because it's Gojo. Gojo's heart is more on the fight than it is on saving people.
Yeah.
yep.
You just go piss them off.
They've already
right.
done that.
So let's get into this. And since we only have one episode to go through, I will go play by play for this. So we start out with all these people around the train station, all these people just kind of in different places because of the veil dropping. Gojo gets in the veil. He's figured out what's going on. This man literally walks on top of people's heads. And like I said in the episode, I'm like, this is a god complex, isn't it? I'm like, I don't think it's a god complex. And Chris goes, no, you're right, it's a god complex. Basically, the man acting like a god. Literally acting like a god, walking on top of people and just floating over everything. Cool. Fair enough. Then we randomly cut to the lady that can do the birds, can amplify with the crows and stuff. One of her assistants, and then Ichidori. She tells Ichidori, hey, we need to get going because there's another veil that's dropping, which we haven't explained. They haven't explained which one's better. They didn't explain why multiple veils dropping, so we don't learn about that yet. But I will say this. I think it's interesting that they are showing us all these teams now. That's the last episode. This is the last team we haven't seen. So we see the Ichidori with her assistant and one of the main teachers. So then they get to this train station staircase, and she goes, you can either fight a bunch of small dudes, or you can fight this really powerful high-grade sorcerer or spirit. And Ichidori's like, and she asked him the question, but he didn't give a response. It's rhetorical. And she goes, you're going to pick the ladder? I know you. You're going to pick the ladder? Okay, cool. You can do that. Also, I can't find this thing because my birds have died trying to confirm it. But Ichidori says, basically, he goes, it's down there. I know it's down there. I'm going to go get him. All the while, they're the little kid and then Ichidori are talking, and he's like, don't disturb her. She's doing her work. And he's like, I don't care. Y'all keep talking. What did y'all think about this first little section here? Because I thought it was actually really well done. One, you show us Gojo being his Gojo self and just kind of not caring. But also, you show Ichidori, and Ichidori's like, I want to fight, I want to help, but I also want to get stronger. So and she knows he wants to get stronger. So she knows he's going to go fight the big bad spirit, not the small ones. And I'll start off with Deon.
I like it. Going from the first season to now, I'm loving the consistency with Gojo. How, yeah, he's arrogant, but he's arrogant for a reason, and he still cares. But he's not about the small stuff. He doesn't sweat the small stuff. Like, okay, I don't care if you think I'm gonna step on your head or not. Whatever. I'm here to save you. And then with Itadori, I love the fact that he's growing as a character.
Yes, they are making sure he grows as a character, and they've done a very good job with that.
I love that because you get so many uh protagonists that are that goofy, weak-minded character, and then they do ignorant things when it's time to get tough. And that has always been a pet peeve of mine. Like Naruto does it. Unfortunately, Luffy does it. Like you get a lot of those characters that's just like, oh, the bad guys here. Let me rush straight in, and I don't care what happens, whatever.
I'm gonna pull back a little bit with the Luffy one, just because I think Luffy was built to be that naive, good-hearted kid, and that's the
See,
point. And that's the point. But also,
I say that
he
you say
does it
that,
for his
but then
friends. Yeah.
yeah, but when you get Luffy serious, Luffy, we've seen serious Luffy,
Yes, we have. We have seen serious Luffy.
and it's like I can't compare the two. It's like a whole different person steps out when Luffy gets serious, you know. So I know I get the character build for him, but it's like some things you just like, all right, dog, like let's get real with this one. But when he does get serious, I love it. But yeah, he does have that carefree attitude. That's part of his character, which was part of Ichidori's character in the first season. You know, he was that carefree, charismatic. Oh, I want to fight for my friends and do whatever it takes, and almost bust into tears if I can't win type of character. And now you're seeing that maturity come out where he's like becoming a jujitsu sorcerer versus the kid who wanted to save everybody. And I love that growth. He's not necessarily becoming like Gojo, but he's having that stature of, all right, dog, I can do this.
Yeah. Chris, what do you think about this first section here?
So I think coming out the gate, they're still trying to set the tone. Like, so they understand that Itadori isn't he's like testing. He's still testing to be a first rate sorcerer.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But just like Deon is saying, like, well, and just like you were saying too, both of y'all said it, is that he's not afraid to show his stuff. But just like we can't forget, he's still that same having fun Itadori, because they showed that in one of the episodes prior.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
I mean,
Now,
they
but
showed it
now,
at the beginning of this one when he's like
you see what I'm
looking
saying?
lost at them at the stairs.
Exactly. So, but going back to, it's like when you first see him in that fight, he's ready to get into it. He's like you said, he's ready to nosedive right into it. Now, like you said, I, he doesn't have the same God complex as Gojo does, but he still has that thing that I'm still trying to prove myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I know who I'm trying to prove myself to.
Correct. So then we get back. So this is actually really kind of interesting. Then we see Ichidori walk downstairs, and he kind of feels kind of off. He's like, I know there's something down here, but this doesn't feel right. Something's wrong about this area. Then we find this locust looking half humanoid. And this locust half humanoid basically is like, kind of like, I'm here to help guard this thing. And Ichidori is having none of it. Ichidori is pretty much like, I don't trust you, but I'm going to hear you out. I will hear you out, but I don't trust you. So he finally hears him out, kind of still doesn't believe me. And the locust asks, are you clever? Or he says, I'm clever. And then we cut. And then they cut, which is, I love that cut because it's actually asking a question. He says, I'm clever. Then they cut. And then you see the volcano dude, the plant looking girl, and then somebody new, the guy who can do blood manipulation.
Jogo Hanami and Choso.
Yeah, all waiting for Gojo. And Gojo kind of finally comes down to this train track, stands there for a second, sees all the people around him. They do the little funny shot of like, oh, somebody dressed as Waldo. Here's Waldo, kind of thing. That was kind of cute. I love that because it's a Halloween episode. And then the the volcano dude's like, you know what? I'm gonna snap my fingers. These gates will open. All these people will flood in. I need that to happen because if I do that, he can't attack me. And then it was kind of weird. This kind of got kind of weird. That happens. Gojo tells somebody behind him, or the person behind him, go, you need to get out of it. You need to get behind me. You're gonna die. I'm like, I don't think you'd be telling somebody that if there's a bunch of people around and they can't go anywhere. Where are they going? Okay, cool. They're gonna just run. Yeah, not really. Not gonna happen. So then the volcano dude's like, you know what? I'm gonna make this easy, and just starts burning people. Just burns people left and right, center. And then I noticed it this time. I did notice it the first time barely. I caught it, but this time I really caught it. Where he just like knocks somebody's head off, clean off at one point, and then you see the plant girl just goes in, just just destroys people. And the guy with the blood manipulation's like, I'm gonna do blood manipulation straight at Gojo. You forget Gojo has the ring around him, so if you do that, it's gonna go right over him. It did, goes right over him, and goes behind him and kind of, I think it hits some people, but it doesn't really hurt anybody. So then that's where I thought this was interesting because Gojo isn't worried, but also Gojo's not trying to help people. He's kind of standing there. So what y'all think about that little section? We see the start off fight with a Locust and Ichidori. Then we switch over back to Gojo, and Gojo has to fight with the three spirits. And yet he's fought one before, which is a volcano dude. What was your overall thoughts? And I'll start off with Chris this time.
So if we're taking a break from the grasshopper fight, which
What up? Hello?
Did we lose him?
He might have pressed something on accident. While he comes back, I'll let you go.
Yeah. So, from the grasshopper fight, we go into the subway, and immediately I'm thinking, oh, they're about to get demolished. Gojo's about to hand these guys the L. But when the doors open, to the regard of him saying, you need to leave, my thought process was, you're in a subway. Just run down the tunnel.
That's what I thought, but I'm like, here's the problem with them running down the tunnel. I was thinking if they run down the tunnel, the volcano thing can catch them pretty fast because some people aren't going to run that fast.
Yeah.
But also, where are you ending up if there's no trains running? Where are you going to end up to get out from that point?
Yeah. Also, my only real thought was, why are there people kneeling down crying instead of like trying to climb back up?
Yeah.
Like, they were there he is. They were kneeling down crying instead of trying to climb back up. And I'm like, okay, we you do something, get out the way from.
Yeah.
But I also remember they can't see these guys.
Correct. That was and that's the point. I think I remember they do. I think unless you have a good amount of Christianity in your body, you won't be able to see the
they
spirits,
can't
the
see
cursed
these
spirits
curses.
and curses in front of you. If you don't have any Christianity, you won't even know they're there. So it's kind of just like ultimately, you're going to see them or you're not.
I dropped out for a second.
No, so did I.
I think we all did.
That's kind of weird. But I think the other thing that I thought was also interesting, I think the volcano guy had so much confidence he didn't think he was going to lose.
Yeah.
Which is also kind of bad. I'm like, Gojo's strong. You fought him once.
You've already lost him.
You've already lost to him once. Don't take this lightly, and you're taking it very lightly. So
he had some backup this time. Yeah, and a plan.
Chris, before you cut out, what were you going to say about this part before I continue?
Well, here I'll just kind of catch up. So, to compared to what y'all were talking about, so in that scene, it's like after Gojo walks on top of people, he's putting this dilemma between him and the other spirits or curses, and it's like, and it's like Gojo's looking at, okay, it's three against one, but everything's cool until he drops Waldo on him, like for real. So, and then they just start going ham. And I mean, and then that's just when you switch back to the grasshopper fight.
So then we get the grasshopper fight. This fight was funny, but also so cool. And I have to give him credit. You could have made this really kind of silly, super, super silly, and not having any reason behind it. But they actually did a really good job making it interesting and having a reason behind it. So the grasshopper fight starts. The grasshopper says, "I'm clever. I'm very clever." And then Ichidori's like, "You're not clever. You don't call yourself clever." And the grasshopper's like, "Huh?" Like, he's like basically just saying, "Nani? What the like? Are you crazy?" Like, he didn't believe that Ichidori said that back at him. It's like, do you know you're talking to somebody who's probably understand what you're trying to do? You're trying to manipulate him, but he's not working. So then Ichidori's pretty prepared to fight, and he starts getting the glow for his spirit energy, and then he just throws they throw one punch like the reference all kind of put out here. If you ever see Ken and Ryu in Street Fighter and they do the fist bump, that's what pretty much happened here. It was like a fist bump and then they just throw hands. It's like, okay, fair enough. We're just gonna throw hands. So then they throw hands, and the grasshopper's like, "Oh, I have 4 arms. He only has 2. This will be easy." And he's just like, "Okay, wait. Why did he grow more? Did he grow more arms? How am I getting punched everywhere? My neck, my arm." It's just like all these things. And it was really interesting because the grasshopper thought, how did I lose? And it was, but the reason I think he didn't think about it because he didn't know how much energy Ichiro really had, how much power he had. Now, the part of this we were laughing, and I think this is still the grossest thing they did. They actually make sense why the grasshopper has his the tail at the bottom for egg purposes. So he's about to stab Ichidori with the egg thing. I'm like, okay, that's gonna be
still giving me Cell vibes.
Yeah, it's Cell from Dragon Ball Z. Basically, it is that style of like, okay. But we don't get to see that yet because we cut again. By the way, we cut one more time, so we don't see the end of this fight yet. And we cut to something that I'll explain in a second. What y'all think about the beginning of this fight and how this fight started out for Ichidori?
Yeah, man, this fight was stupid, bro. It was funny, stupid. Like this grasshopper thing, he finna go in and shoot Itadori. Just pretty much just shows him like you still ain't ish. Still a grasshopper eating. Oh, but I'm clever. Are you clever, yeah, bro? People that's clever don't say that they clever.
That's the line that killed me when he said that the first time. I'm like, you're like, wow, okay, all right.
And then right as they doing this fight scene and everything with the throwing punches and throwing hands, the dude is like, wait a minute, why am I the only one getting hit, bro? Like that was the joke of the day for me. Like, wait a minute. So yeah, Itadori wins that fight, bro.
Deon, what do you think about this section?
Oh man. When it first starts off and he goes, I'm clever. And Ichidori says, what did he say? He said his remark that made him he's like, "Oh, I know what you're doing. Like, you're not He goes, "Oh, you're clever." And from that moment on, you see him basically questioning everything he's doing.
Just did, yeah.
Yeah, and this shows the maturity level again, that growth in Yuji. The fight was Gojo level, not as high grade because this curse isn't as high grade as Gojo probably would have sneezed and killed this guy, but that confidence level in the fight that Yuji has is like, I already know I can handle you. You don't get that inner dialogue that, oh, I'm not strong. Like, this is okay, whatever, bro. Let me handle this so I can keep on moving because you're not my main priority. And I love it. I love this energy we're getting from him this season.
So then we cut to one of the weirder conversations you'll probably ever see in an anime. I think I've seen Geto and the volcano dude are talking on a kid's playground with kids around. And the reason for this conversation,
Blowing bubbles.
Okay, yeah. Ghetto and the volcano dude talking on a kid's playground with kids around while Ghetto's blowing bubbles. I don't know if that really sums up how weird this scene's gonna get, but okay, but it's a serious conversation, which is also kind of odd. So then Ghetto mentions that, hey, you're not gonna be able to attack Gojo normally because he has his special barrier. So what you need to do is get all these people around him, get all these non-sources around him, then he can't use his power fully. He can't use the 99% of his power. He didn't, and like Chris said, he didn't say 100% of his power. He said 99%, which I thought was kind of interesting that he didn't say his full power, all his power. Then Geto tells him, you have to combine your moves and do like this domain amplification move, basically what they call it. And that amplifies the domain so you can get to Gojo easier. So then the volcano dude is still listening. That's the only way you're going to be able to beat Gojo. So then we do two things. We cut back. Then we cut back to the grasshopper fight because the grasshopper fight finishes where you see the grasshopper finally gets annoyed and goes, I'm going to spit my venom. He spits the venom. Itadori just ducks it, literally does a right hook, and or it was a left hook because he uses left hand for this, and literally just punches the egg sac completely through. And you're like, why'd you punch there? And that's like his life force. So he basically punches that grasshopper, the locust dies, and it was so kind of gross, but at the same time made sense. I don't know how they animated that. I'm not going to ask those questions. But then I'll just finish it out. Then we get the last little bit of this. So then we have the volcano dude and the plant girl do this amplification. They each throw a punch from each side. They get closer and closer. You see the barrier of where Gojo's standing get crunched in. He's taking it. He's using it defensive. He's being more defensive. And then he just poofs. Like teleports out. They punch each other. They knock the air, and everybody around me gets this like rush of wind. It's like, okay, that wasn't supposed to happen. Doesn't know what. Nobody around him knows what's happening. Then Gojo kind of laughs because Gojo's like, y'all try domain application. Okay, I'll give you credit. You did a good thing, but it's not gonna work on me. I knew that. I knew you were trying to do that. But then you see this lady crying on her knees, and this guy who's I'm guessing her boyfriend or something, we don't know, saying, "Get up, you're okay, we're okay." As he's saying that, the volcano dude is standing right next to him and goes, punch through the gut. He's bleeding. The blood falls on her, and drops the blood, falls on her face, and he burns her alive. And the funny part is, that's where we end the episode. Outside of the fact we see Ichidori, the only thing I didn't really mention is Ichidori comes back with the crow girl and her assistant, and they run off to go do another veil or fix something else because they cleared up that veil. That was the back end of this episode is probably the creative thing I've seen, only because You end up with the grasshopper fight, and then you also finish they try to kill Gojo, but they can't. So then they have a dilemma: how are we going to do this? And yet he's still killing people left and right. The volcano dude is killing people left, right, and center with no remorse. So you're going to help Gojo out. Oh, but also Gojo pulls down his little mask thing, and she reveals his eyes, and Gojo's like, "I'm ready to fight now. Let's go."
Let's go.
So I'm gonna start off with Deon. What do you think about the back half of this episode? Because I thought it was really just jumping around all over the place, which is good, but also kind of like giving us a lot of stuff to think about.
Yeah, I want to say they did a good job splitting the teams, or the scenes between the teams, jumping between Gojo and Meme's team. They did all right with that. It didn't seem forced.
No, it didn't seem forced.
Like, are happening.
Natural.
So that was good. What I will say about the back half of this, the worst part of this, which I'm just realizing now, is probably the part where she sees the guy gut just opens up because she doesn't see the hand pop through. She just sees this hole open up inside of this guy who's trying to help her. That's gruesome for them to put that in there. That's
traumatizing.
That shows the dynamic of this season, how crucial they're going to be with things, how volatile it's going to get.
But it's also interesting. You mentioned the fact we see the hand as the audience, but as her character, she doesn't see the hand. That's right. She doesn't see anything. She doesn't even know there's a hand in his stomach, by the way. So it's like,
but she does because even though she doesn't physically see the hand, she sees something covered in blood that resembles a hand.
So you kind of
which is even worse.
Yeah. Because I think that's the thing of like she can see some part of the curse, but she can't see the full curse. So she can see something of a curse, but it's not fully manifested. Yeah, that is one of the scenes that is kind of jarring in this. Like it doesn't fit everything else. Because I think it just kind of is random where it sits between the end of the Locust fight, when Mei's team finishes up, and then you see Gojo reveal his eyes. That little thing there doesn't really make much sense unless you're just going to prove you're saying, "Oh, Gojo has a real reason to fight now."
Yeah, I think it more goes to show the willingness of these three curses. I know the volcano guy for sure has a grudge out against Gojo, so I'm thinking it's more of showing their anger or their tenacity to do whatever it takes to really get Gojo this time. But just revealing the eyes, all the waifus out there, I know they're going crazy right now. I know we're gonna get a lot of that. What they call them, blue-eyed G's.
Yeah, basically
The blue-eyed anime G's.
I'm done.
Yeah, I've never been, and Deon, you brought it up, and I'll give people this. I've never been a fan of waifus and husbandos. I've never been a fan of it. I get why it's a thing. I get it, but it's also just so weird to me when you're so into a character that like you would literally want them to be your husband. I'm like, no. I have no intention. But I get why, because Gojo's one of those characters. Yes, same with the guy from Naruto that covered his one
Kakashi.
Kakashi. I get all that, so I'm not surprised. I think Nominee, the guy from the 9 to 5 dude, is also in that same kind of realm because he's so good looking. It's just I get it, but it's just like no, I don't need this about that.
It's just funny that they included that in the ending as like. I feel like it was just a shout out to them. Like, we just traumatized you guys. Let me give you a little. But for us, it's like okay, things are about to get serious.
Yeah, he's about to
I mean,
drop that mask and he's about to go ham on them. He
Yeah,
don't care anymore. He just like
no,
I'm
but
going.
wait a minute though. We have to give those curses an honorable mention because the flower girl, she was snatching people's heads off.
yeah.
Oh, she was just
Oh,
like
yeah.
she was
You
just
see what
doing
I'm saying?
like boxing levels of like I'm gonna just knock you out, knock you out,
No,
knock
no,
you
no,
out.
no, 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 no. It was past knocked out like Brandon. I'm talking about head detached
Oh,
from
okay.
body.
Oh,
Running
she
You
do
see
like
what I'm
a
saying?
football drive.
You see what I'm
Like
saying?
in
she
the high
Like,
doing
five.
Mortal Kombat level fatalities on people without even having the meter for it.
thank you. You know what I'm saying? And then dude was literally like instantaneously combusting people. Like,
On
boom.
fire.
Like, you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like, and so I mean, they over here just massacre. So the fact is, Gojo really doesn't have much of a choice either. So it's
Yeah,
like it's go
yeah.
time.
well, I say this: Gojo knows what the volcano guy is capable of. He
Yeah.
knows who they're working with now.
He he
He
has
he,
fought.
he
He
knows that they're
has
working with a sorcerer.
yeah.
Right.
He has fought the Flower Girl, but not in a full capacity because it's in season one.
Yeah, in the games.
Yeah, and it's
Oh,
like a passing thing where he just comes by, knocks her out quickly, and then I think the rest of them finish her off. But it's like he's always seen everybody, but I don't know how much that's gonna really be conveyed.
yeah.
Right.
Now the bloodbending guy though,
He's new. He's brand new.
he's new, but he seems pointless in this scene. So I'm curious as to seeing how it plays out
Yep. That's
in
what I'm
in the
thinking.
upcoming episode, because this scene, yeah, he did the little bloodbending that tried to go for Gojo, but it was basically pointless. And we see everyone else wreaking havoc. We don't really see him doing too much damage
Mhm.
to anybody. So
Well, we don't see him at all after he does that first. That only scene.
No, yeah. After he
yeah,
tries
we
that
see
one
most of
trick,
the volcano guy.
yeah. After he does that one trick, that's it. He's pretty much gone from the rest of the episode because I think that was just kind of the way of showing like, oh, you can't get past this fail. Okay, we have to try something else. So that's why. I think that's why
Yeah,
he's there. I will say this, and it's something that I think episode one mentions this series. Um, it's when we first meet all the teams, and the guy with Panda, the guy that's with in the trench coat, he says there's going to be a lot of people getting injured or killed.
Yep.
He basically calls like, oh, this ain't going to be pretty. So, and Panda's kind of like, wait, but I thought the point was not to have casualties. And he's like, they're gonna be casualties no matter what we do.
Yep. He
So
just
it,
being keep you real.
and he's being honest, and it was funny because now you see it. No matter what, if Gojo could have stopped them right away, there's still gonna be a couple burned alive, or people losing limbs or stuff like that. So it really wasn't gonna matter. But now you're fighting against the clock. Do you try to stop them really quickly to prevent more casualties, or do you just are you gonna have a long learning to fight, and all these casualties are gonna come up anyway? And that's something the Rich Guy Code also mentioned. Um,
Yep.
the only other thing about this episode, I think, is kind of feels like didn't get a lot of time to breathe. I think we didn't get a lot of time to learn about them. We learned about the villains here. We already know about the villains, so you should. I'm guessing they're thinking you should know about them already.
yeah,
But I also think it's kind of weird when you add a blood-bending dude. We haven't learned anything about him, and then he's just gone.
But that
Like
usually means keep. That usually means remember him. Like
that does
like don't
that,
forget about him.
that does. That usually doesn't remember. Like we need to remember him. Um, and then the only other thing I don't know if it said it is said in the playground scene. Gojo mentions about Ghetto mentions about the prism realm, which will come up later in this arc, but it's something to get rid of Gojo. That's the point with the Prison Realm. We'll get more later, but he just briefly mentioned in the conversation with the volcano dude. The only other thing I'm going to ask a question about: Do you think we see Mechamaru come back anytime soon to
Yes.
help Gojo, or do you think Mechamaru is fully done?
Nope. He coming back.
Um, I I want to say that he may be done for a while.
Okay.
He may be coming back, but possibly later in the arc.
Yep. I can agree with that.
Um,
Because the only reason I bring it up because it feels kind of odd. We had these first couple episodes that dealt with Mechamaru. Mechamaru said he needed to get back to Gojo. We also know Mechamaru is the traitor that worked for the bad guys to get his body back, to get his actual body back. How are you going to make that make sense to where we are now? And also, is Mechamaru going to get a redemption arc, or is it just going to be a thing like he gets back, he tries to help, but then he just gets destroyed? Like
Nah.
that would just be kind of like, that don't feel very satisfying.
I think he'll come back, but he won't be as strong as he once was. He'll probably be weakened in some form or fashion.
Okay.
But he'll have to deliver some kind of important piece of information.
Because he does have still 7 years left of, or did he use a lot? No, he still had 7 years left of cursed energy
Yeah.
from that fight. So technically, he's still pretty strong, but we don't know how much his body is still functioning.
Right.
There's a lot of good questions in this. I'm enjoying it. I don't think this has been really good so far. I and I hate to say because I know Chris thought the same thing at the end of Death Now Dead play. He had to grab Tylenol a couple times because it got too convoluted. I hope this doesn't get super convoluted because it's going to get very difficult to follow if you don't know all the characters and what's going on.
well, I think that's a good thing about having the back seasons, the movie season 0, the first season, because now it can kind of move pretty quick because they have at least introduced everybody already, or at least most everybody, like Mei, and you've already got a kind of an idea of who these characters are. So the new characters that get introduced, they're either not going to be around for long, or they're going to be kind of built as the art goes along.
Okay.
All right. Because we still haven't seen our main side character either.
Yeah. Which he had a lot to do. Well, I'm not gonna say he had a lot to do with season 0, but his story, I guess.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yep.
He has an even deeper background than what we've led to see.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I'm just I have a slight cause for pause because I know JDK does a very good story, so I'm not too worried about it. But if it does get convoluted and fans can't follow what's going on, I think JDK is going to be in that weird spot of like fans are going to tune out super quick unless we're going to get a bunch of fight scenes. And that's the only thing about this episode. I think that's why kind of fans tuned out. Partially, there was only 2 fight scenes, technically 2 fight scenes. One was the Igori fight. The other is Gojo's starting fight.
Yeah.
With them.
Which I think is just going to get worse.
Going to get worse over time. We also have the other teams around. This is pretty dialogue heavy, but the dialogue had a reason for it, so it's not like too crazy. I don't know. It's just an interesting way of thinking about it because I don't think I love dialogue in this. The dialogue in this actually makes sense. The storytelling makes sense.
Yeah, even the little informational bit, like it was Discovery Channel or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About the
Oh
locust.
yeah.
Like it's still
Yeah.
kind of tied in well.
The story. Even Chris thought it was weird. I don't know if you remember the first episode, Deon, where they did the whole movie trailer for Ichidori.
Yeah.
And everybody thought, me and Chris were both like, that's just so weird. They put a whole movie trailer in this show for no point of reason outside of giving each a reason to talk about it. Which they
Thank
did.
you.
It was entertaining though.
It was entertaining. It was entertaining.
Nobody said it was. Nobody said it wasn't entertaining. It was like
Just misplaced.
It was like,
I was
what?
like, what if I actually want to see this movie now? Are y'all gonna produce it? I don't think so. So why?
It might.
They might. I can see that thing.
It might be a
Right.
season 4 short.
Yeah, I'm good.
That'd be fine. But that's the other. I think that's the other reason I think you mentioned the Locust thing here. The Locust thing doesn't have a place for this episode, but it actually builds into what's going on actually with the Locust and the Ichidori fight. So it has a reason, but not the reason. There's no bearing on that plot. So, gentlemen, I'm gonna ask you this right now: what would you give Jujutsu Kaisen season 2, episode 32 of the Shibuya incident grade? Please. And I'm gonna start off with Deon.
I'm sorry, said it again. I dropped out.
Oh no, you're good. What would you grade this episode so far?
Ooh, they did a really good job of mixing dialogue and action. It tied in well to the characters' new, because this is a whole new cast of creators. As far as I think the director and animators are different.
Yes, they are.
Than the first season, but it's still, and I know a lot of people are gonna give some feedback on that, but it still gives me Jujutsu Kaisen.
Okay.
So to keep up with that, with Yuji having his first real fight in this season right now, I'm gonna give this episode a 8.2.
Explain.
I give it a 8.2. I don't give it a 10 because the animation it's cool, but we could have figured something else out about.
I called it.
Okay. I'm gonna let you continue. But I'm gonna say this: I get why it's the way it's animated, but it doesn't feel right when the guy looks more humanoid than Bug.
Thank you.
It looks
That
so
part.
much. It looks so wrong against a humanoid Bug thing. If it was just Bug, oh, absolutely, I'd be fine with it. The Bug,
Yeah,
but you made it look like he has very not great.
like I don't feel comfortable watching that with my kids.
But here's the thing. I actually okay with it for this reason. You do that, fine. But you also did something for most ladies and most of the people who wanted to see this. You gave us Gojo eyes.
Yeah, it was the Gojo eyes. Yeah, the Gojo eyes definitely boost the ratings.
So you basically did the two extremes that most people would probably think is kind of odd. One extreme is just supposed to be gross and kind of creeped out. The other extreme is supposed to make Gojo look like this pretty boy. So I'm fine with it. I think it didn't really fit right. I think you had him have, and also he's hunched over. If he wasn't hunched over and stand up straight, it looks more normal because it looks more like a bug, like a stinger for a bee. It doesn't look like that.
Yeah. See, if it was straight down his back or something.
Correct. And that would make more sense. It does look kind of odd across the board. I kind of cringe.
I mean, if you're gonna make him look like Cell, I mean, color scheme and everything,
pretty much,
you could at least gave him the Cell scanner, the little Cell stinger, which
the little tiny one,
embedded in his back, and then it came out when he needed it.
Yeah.
Like, I could have done that. And then all the angles they showed with it like just right there in your face, like, like
Literally, the angle that was I think the most one we all were like, did they really just like
yeah,
he's pointing the stinger at Ichidori's face? Ichidori's about to punch the thing. No, Ichidori's about to punch. I'm like, you do know this doesn't look right in any situation that you put this in, but okay,
No.
fair enough.
It's just-
Fair enough. You're the
yeah.
animators, we're not, so I don't.
And then you're going to end it with them chopping it off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Actually,
that hurt.
not chopping it off, punching through it.
Punching through it.
He literally punched through it and didn't leave him.
Yeah.
Left him bleeding. Like didn't even feel like he was getting hurt. He got hurt.
Yeah, so that, and then I didn't get enough of the Gojo fight.
Yeah,
Which is a good thing, but for me, I want more. I want more Gojo.
They're cheating that. They're cheating that fight. They're not going to keep that fight. They're not doing that fight all at once. That fight is going to take up most of this season.
I think that's gonna take up like maybe another 2 episodes, and then something else gonna pop in.
I think one more episode.
Okay.
And that's it. And I say that to say this: Gojo has a knack for finishing fights fast.
Yes, he does. Too quickly.
Like we get 20 seconds of Gojo fight scenes in a 23, 24 minute long anime, and it sets it up to be like it's gonna last for a century.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're gonna get one fight scene that's super strong, and then it's gonna be no more Gojo.
Okay.
And that's the only reason why I'm like, I want.
Don't forget, they told him to hold up. That they had to hold him off for 20 minutes.
Yeah, he's gonna, and Ghetto's gonna come out and do his little thing. I'm interested in seeing what that goes about, but I don't know if it's gonna get that far. I don't know if they're gonna be able to hold him off.
That's also true. Yeah, the holding off for 20 minutes is also going to be kind of hard for them because Gojo's already fought 2 of them before, and he's
especially if they're about to meet Itadori within there, if that's where he's heading.
Yeah, Itadori's. I think they're headed that way to help Gojo. Yeah, so you're gonna have Maybe, Itadori, and Gojo. Yeah, no, you ain't winning that.
Yes.
Good luck.
Good night. Sweet. It's like spiritual pressure.
So you gave it. You said 8.5, Deon.
Yeah.
Okay. So Chris, what would you give it before I give my rating?
I give it an 8.9.
Ooh. Okay. Explain.
Like the scene was funny. I liked it. It was more like a serious action with us. Like I don't know how you bring comedy into a serious mode, but they did it, and I like it.
You literally brought comedy by making somebody dressed as Waldo from Where's Waldo. So like,
but it's more than that. From the grasshopper, which was heckin' freaking awkward.
Yeah,
it was funny. You can't.
Yeah.
And then
break it down. They made the grasshopper funny instead of Yuji like they normally would have.
Exactly. So that's why I give it an 8.9. It was genuinely funny.
Okay. I'm a dilemma. Because
give it true, man.
Higher or lower?
oddly enough, higher.
Ooh,
I could definitely see that.
I'm gonna end up giving this. I'm giving this like a 9.7.
Ooh, okay.
I could definitely. If the grasshopper scene doesn't bother you enough, I definitely could see that.
I think the only reason I give it that high is 2 things. One, like Chris said, it's funny. It is legit funny, and it's just a legit like they made this silly, and they knew it was going to be silly because they even say at the beginning of last episode, this is Halloween. So this is Halloween in 2018. So we understand everybody's in costume, everybody's out doing their thing. People are drunk. That's the thing you kind of get with this. But then in this episode, it's still Halloween. We're still getting kind of the Halloween vibes with the whereas Waldo cameo. We had a couple somebody in a toga. We had people. I think the guy that gets killed is dressed like the guy from Cowboy Bebop, basically.
I did notice that too.
So like you know they were having fun outside the grasshopper bit, and I say the grasshopper is just fun in general. He does look weird, but I can get past him looking weird if you're gonna make Ichidori look amazing, and you made Ichidori look amazing, by the way, because he just looks like I don't care what you're trying to tell me. I'm just gonna kick you down, and that's what he did. I kick you down. I'm gonna fight, and I'm gonna make sure you can't come back.
Well, let's look at it this way. Particularly the scene with the grasshopper. They did three things. One, yeah, it was funny. Two, it was awkward. But three, they put the National Geographic stuff with it, so just to cover all their bases.
Correct. And that's the other thing. You gave me a reason to care why the grasshopper has the thing he has. If you didn't do that, you just left the grasshopper the way it was. None of
Like
that.
honestly, I think they did that just to keep themselves out of trouble.
Well,
Yeah.
from an
Yeah.
animation standpoint, this is purely off the animation, not the story of it. If you have to design something that needs explanation, you know, it's like explaining why a joke is funny to you. Like
You've done
you
something
know?
very well.
Yeah.
You've done something very well. Ultimately, I don't think this episode steps wrong. I think if you are kind of like squeamish kind of type that can't handle weird, more humorphic animals, then yes, the grasshopper's going to just throw you for a loop. Outside of that, I think everything else hits pretty well. Even, and this is one I don't usually say, I usually don't usually agree with either. You balance the grasshopper thing out with something that you probably wouldn't think is a good balancer, but is a very good balancer. Is when Ghetto, the volcano dude, and all these kids are on this playground, and Ghetto's blowing bubbles. That tell you they knew what they were doing when you built
Right.
You built a grasshopper, looks really humanoid, looks kind of creepy and just kind of disgusting. But then you balance it out with Ghetto blowing bubbles, talking to a volcano dude on a playground with little kids. That
I will say that scene was kind of disturbing.
That part.
But it's disturbing in the way that the grasshopper's disturbing.
Yeah, but it's like we don't see the curse as civilians in Shibuya. We don't see the curse. We just see Ghetto on a playground standing over this little girl who's on the swings.
But wait a minute. But wait a minute. Time out though. Isn't that paranormal activity though?
Yeah, that's pretty much paranormal activity. Yeah.
That is, bro. You really think
He's
about
talking to himself, blowing bubbles on a park.
Bro, if you switch the scene around, just like they've been doing to the people that don't have curse energy, that is literally watching paranormal activity, bro.
Man,
but
yeah.
But it gets over the fact that here's the thing: Ghetto is calm, cool, collected, and calculated. The curse wasn't calm, cool, and collected. He was trying to trick Itadori. Didn't work at all. And yet, in both senses of the word, what the locust was trying to do, the plan didn't work. What Ghetto's trying to do, the plan is starting to work. That's the way of good storytelling. When you give us two characters, one thinks he's clever, but he's not. But when the man that actually is clever is so clever, in fact, he's telling his minion, "Here's what you need to do to beat this dude." You might need to do it a couple times, but if you hold off for about 20 minutes, I have all the time I need to do what I need to do, and that's it. Okay, I agree. Okay. But yet, the way they're also showing that he's not worried about a thing, he's blowing bubbles. Like he's not overthinking anything. That's why I give this episode a 9.7 because I think they do a very good job.
20 minutes to turn into
Yeah, the 20 minutes will probably turn into like
Those extra 2 episodes I was saying. Yep.
yeah, they'll turn into multiple episodes of them trying to stop Gojo,
Exactly.
which they won't be able to.
Yep.
Because Gojo, just like Deon was saying, could easily turn what might be 2 episodes into a quick 10-minute 10-minute showdown.
Not even 10 minutes. I give the man 5. I give the man 5.
And that'll be mostly dialogue.
Yeah, that'd be a fight.
Like, because if we remember when he fought when he fought both of them, he was teaching.
Yes, he was.
At the same time.
Yes, he was.
You right. He brought
fighting.
Itadori into his domain with him while he was fighting him.
Went to go get Itadori in the middle of the fight.
Just to show him how he fight. Just to see that's the God complex right there.
Yeah.
That's the God complex.
I need you to watch me destroy this guy who thinks he's gonna win.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you sail with on this ride because we have episode 33 of this coming up next week. We're gonna have episode 34 at the end of September, and then we get into October. October is gonna be interesting because we have a lot of stuff to be out. But ultimately, what we're gonna do, we ain't gonna be able to stop. We're gonna stop this train because we're gonna keep on with JJK. We're just picking up Death Mount Death Play season 2. We get into October. October 6th, if I remember correct. I think it's 6th or 9th. Can't remember the exact date. So yeah, that's gonna be our plate. That's gonna be our plate for the autumn season. I implore you, if you haven't started watching JJK, please do, because even though it can be convoluted and weird, even though this episode was a little bit weird and out there, it still told a good story. And yet the story's building something bigger. And it's gonna get bigger. It's gonna keep getting bigger. This ain't stopping for any time soon. We haven't hit the climax of the story yet. Pardon the pun. Didn't want to say it. I didn't mean to say it that way. But it's gonna be a fun ride. I do thank Deon and Chris for joining me. We'll be back with episode 23 of the Anime Dojo. And I hope to hear from next time. See ya.
Deuce.
Later.